Yes. Set up some. Perfect. So, hello everybody. Thank you for joining the last meeting of May. We have a really good agenda items today. Before we start, are there any announcements that you would like to share? There are a couple of ones that was posted in the meeting guidelines. I think we can start with that. And if you don't, if you'd like, if you kindly put your name into the agenda notes, I would appreciate it. First issue is that libuv 1.45.0 Ben and a couple of folks in libuv team, they recently added IO Uring support to Linux, which is perfect because it comes with 800% performance boost for file system operations, and it's really amazing what the new architecture that Linux supports can have on an impact. This is the pull request for it. And I think this is supported by a company that should be mentioned. Thanks to Ben and IC projects, which IC sponsored some of his work. And thanks to Santiago from NodeSource and other more libuv team members. On top of that, Kayhan Vakil shared the recent changes, a couple of pull requests that they added, which comes with 30% startup performance boost, which is amazing. Again, I will just leave the comment in here into the GitHub issue. And I would also like to mention Vinicius' pull request on improving the HTTP trace enabled functionality on V8 and adding a fast API on it. It's still an ongoing process, but Vinicius made a really good contribution, and I think that it's worth mentioning in this meeting. Are there any other announcements that I might have missed? Actually, I missed something. I'm gonna parental leave next week, and for the next couple of meetings, I can't join. I might not have the chance to join. Is the correct word, I guess. So I reached out to VCs on privately and asked him to host the meeting since he has the access to the Zoom meeting. If everybody is okay with it, I would like to ask him to host a couple of performance meetings. And
yeah,
if you still want it,
I'm happy to host.
That I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm happy to host, and
I
I'm
didn't want
available.
To force you to do.
Yeah. Yeah, at least for the next two ones, no issues. And you have anything else, I can ask or just bring that in the issue to see if anyone else can host. But hopefully the next two ones, no issue at all. So it's fine.
Okay. Robert, do you also have Zoom access? Maybe. Hello. Amazing blue eyes. Is that a blue eye?
It looks like, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. But we can't.
We have all blue eyes.
Ah, Yes, Swedish people and their perfect genes, right?
Well, he's half Finnish and half Hungarian, so.
Oh, that's good to know.
But we pass as Swedish. Nobody suspects anything.
Yeah, that's good to know. So do you also have Zoom access in case this is like something came
Not
up?
at the moment. How do I get that?
I think you need to open an issue to Node.js admin, but you're a TSC member, so I don't know how that works. Maybe you can reach out to Michael Dawson.
I'll ask Rich or
about it.
Yeah, I think if you can create a pull request against the emails repository, there is one email for Zoom, which you will need to get the access token sometimes. But aside of that, I think the process is easy. Yeah.
Okay. So if there isn't any other announcements, then we can start with the agenda items for today. So issue number 82, performance of WhatWG readable streams that read.
I think we have so much progress on that one, do we?
The baud rate did a couple of things, Kafra did a couple of things and got up to 7.5% improvement, but he mentioned that it broke a couple of issues, but there's definitely some progress here. For those who are listening to us through YouTube and not have access to the GitHub issues, the issue is about performance of WhatWG readable stream that read. Just recently, the Badri opened the benchmarked readable streams and realized that we are a little bit slow compared to Ban and Dino, and thought that it would be good to have some sort of optimization on this. Kafra did some optimization by getting rid of Ensuri's promise, which improved like 7.5% locally, but it broke a couple of web platform tests.
Do we know if Dino and Bon implements web streams in native or JavaScript?
I don't know. I didn't.
That's quite a relevant question in terms of comparing performance.
Yes.
Maybe we just make a note on the issue about that.
Yes, let me mention it. I mentioned, I put it in the wrong issue.
One more year and he's going to be coding.
So the Badri removed a couple of primordials, which led to a slight performance boost, but not sure that's a good thing though. Yeah.
Primordials are a little controversial.
Yes, like adding them slows, removing them increases performance, but also decreases security and prototype pollution. And people are all, yeah.
It's a question of how much of a performance difference are we talking about? Is it 5%? Then maybe it's worth to give up the security part. But if it's like 1%, then. But he didn't provide any numbers, did he? He just wrote slight.
Yeah. I will ask that. So we have some sort of idea about this. Okay. So I think there's ongoing process here. I asked a couple of issues and we can continue this at the next meeting. The next agenda item is number 73, improve legacy CGS resolve. So the issue that I created was mostly about like legacy main resolve and how file system and URL instantiation is causing too many C++ communication. But on top of that, for the past couple of weeks, I worked on adding simd JSON to Node. The main idea was so the issue is whenever you require a library, it requires multiple different node modules, and every node modules, in order to understand if it is CGS or ESM or how do you require an import, you make a package JSON call, which means that you read the file, get the string, return it to the JavaScript side, and you JSON parse it and extract the useful data. While doing it, the idea was that I wanted to read the JSON, so I wanted to parse the JSON in the C++ side and return the required properties like exports, imports, and name, and those kinds of things. While doing that, I improved the performance by 17%, but while optimizing it further, I lost that optimization, and I'm not really sure if that optimization is even correct right now because I couldn't replicate that right now. So my SimJSON pull request right now has around 5 to 7% improvement, which is, in my honest perspective, it's not a good excuse to introduce a really big library. But if anybody wants to take this over or even continue working on it or have some idea that I don't, I wanted to share this and mention this in here. The issue with this, so the problem with this benchmark is that we don't have, we can't have, it's really hard to have a benchmark that has multiple node modules and replicates the real world experience. So in order to do this, I used one of the projects that my ex company worked and developed, and I used it to initialize it. So I was basically importing the src index.js of a Fastify application, and it was ESM. It was using ESM. It had around like 2,000, 3,000 node module dependencies because of all the sub dependencies that dependencies depend on. So if anybody wants to work on it, I can share that code privately, not publicly, and it's a good way of benchmarking. But again, I couldn't find a good benchmark to do it. While doing that, I had a really great conversation with Geoffrey from Node.js team. I realized that there are lots of more optimizations that can be done on the ESM side. And I won't have any time in the next couple of weeks to work on it, but after that, I have some ideas for sure.
I started working on this issue. I wrote a little basic code to return just a integer. So I tried to move all the file calls to C++ and also the URL parsing. I didn't do too much benchmark because I was not sure if I could like replicate or do a good benchmark for this kind of problem. I saw a benchmark inside Node.js that I started to using, but I'm not sure if that benchmark is accurate to test what we are doing. So yeah, I started working, but I'm just exploring.
Yeah, I missed what you were working on. Sorry for that. I didn't want to interrupt you.
I moved all this code to the C++ side. So I call Ada and I call UV to. First, I call Ada to parse the URL,
Okay,
and then I pass that URL to the UV call, the file exists call in C++ side.
Okay, perfect. That's really good. So if you have a like an open pull request or a draft pull request, or if you have some help, again, I'm here to talk on it. But even reducing, so particularly for the stuff that I've done, it's a little bit harder to benchmark. But for this, just having a package that doesn't have a main key in the JSON file would give you an idea about it. And most of the packages in Node, like most of the modules that you install through Node modules and npm doesn't have main. So I think it would be nice to, it would be easy to benchmark, but yeah, we can follow up afterwards.
Okay, I will share. Yeah, one thing that I was like unsure, I can share the later reviews. So is the the string interpolation. I wasn't sure if I was doing the correct thing. And the ADA part. So later we can discuss. I can share the code. I didn't publish yet because I started working today. So I
Okay.
was looking for doing more tries and benchmarks before I open a pull request. But I can share later with you.
Okay, yeah. Like even before opening a pull request, if you have any idea what you want to do and the like a pseudo random code, like pseudo code to like step by step, I'm going to call this and this and this, then it will be helpful for me as well.
Nice.
So yeah, regarding the issue, I think Vinicius is working on that. Should we assign this issue to you? Like, do you want that, Vinicius?
Yeah, I want to contribute more. About that other issue about HTTP trace, I was not sure about the CI failing. If you could provide some feedback about that. But until that until that pull request be merged, I have free time, so I can work in this issue too.
Can you share the issue link on Zoom chat that you opened for the? Okay, perfect. So this is failing on, yeah. Okay, maybe we can just ask Node.js build. Okay, I just asked about it. And if there's no follow-up, we can mention this on the TSC meeting on Wednesday, so that more people can have access and ask.
Okay, thanks.
So can you leave a comment on the improved legacy CGS resolve and saying that like I'm working on it? Because
Yeah.
I couldn't assign you to the issue, unfortunately. So we can continue with the next steps. Make callback is very slow. I added this to the just before the previous agenda item. The action that we wanted to do was around accessing, like reaching to more people about why is it slow and how we can do it. I think Robert mentioned this on at TSC meeting.
Yeah, I quickly mentioned it, and James said that he's happy to help if somebody has any specific questions, but he doesn't have time to, investigate it himself. So we're a little bit stuck now, where we need someone to dig into it, and if that person needs a little help with understanding, etc., then James said he was happy to help out. So I think we're kind of stuck there. An interesting development here is what Benjamin linked from Alex Hultman and micro WebSockets, where they have this alien mode where he creates a event loop that bypasses the async hooks and gets some performance improvements there.
Yeah. I think it's almost like 20-30% improvement.
Yeah, it's a very what do you call a synthetic benchmark. So I don't know how much that actually does in real world, but especially when you have like this lots of WebSocket messages and you're not, you know, batching them before you call into JavaScript, then it does quite a significant difference. But yeah, as we discussed previously, there's two ways of going here. One is to try to make the async hooks overhead smaller, and the other one is to provide a mode where async hooks are disabled.
Yes. So this issue with UWebSockets proves that people are aware of this performance issue and they're actively searching and going out of their comfort zone to fix this and find solutions. So I think we should keep this in the performance agenda and definitely try to reach out to more people and do it. Okay. One of the ideas that I have, by the way, was not particularly for this issue, but for UWebSockets is that since Ada is stable right now, in a couple of months, we are going to start working on rewriting the WebSocket layer of Node.js, which we don't have right now. So before waiting for the second kid, we are starting on a new project, which is WebSockets. So that's kind of a good news. And the goal is to introduce WebSockets, a performant WebSocket library into Node itself. So hopefully these kinds of issues will not exist, since it's not an external library, but a library that's aimed to integrate with Node.js itself. But yeah, so that's kind of news to share from my side.
Unfortunately, I have a deadline here at 19:30, so I have to move on. Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So yeah, we can continue on the next agenda item, which is fetch. It's this my nightmare. I don't think there is anything new in here, and we can just keep this as it is or remove it from the agenda. Because it's been in the agenda for eight items, and we are right now waiting for some sort of news about what we want to go. Like, why is it slow? If we know the why, then it will be a lot easier to handle the what.
Yep. Yeah, I think we can easily remove it from the agenda, and if there is anything new, we can just retag it and we can have it in the next meeting. So
okay.
But yeah, it's true that the last 2, even 3 meetings, probably we didn't make any big progress. So yeah, maybe
yes,
worth
I think since March 1, we didn't have any, and there isn't anybody that focuses on it right now.
Yep. Should we target something like help wanted or something in that direction, so we can let people know if they can help, like a final, comment saying like, hey, check it out, maybe you can go in that direction, and if anyone want to pick it or something, that can be good. Okay,
I just added that label, and let's add to the meeting notes that benchmarks and more information is needed before continuing on it. And I think because we don't have an actionable item for this issue, it's not progressing as fast as the other performance issues. So I think that was the last agenda item for today. Are there any questions or anything else you want to share before we end the meeting?
Just one question about CGS resolution. We should create a new binding for that function that we want to create, because I didn't find any good place to put that code. To test, I put inside the URL node module, but internal module. But I don't know if we should put inside there. But
I think it should be inside. So since we are doing node file operations and we are using URL, I think it should be inside node file, not in URL, because URL is much more specific to like parse operations and so on and so forth. Like for example, internal package JSON reader is a function that lives inside node file.
Okay, I can move to there. That file.
But if you want to, if you think that it will be better, we can move it to like Node CGS or something. But I'm skeptical about it. Maybe Node file is the correct choice here.
We can go with Node file. Then if we have some feedback about this when the API is open, we can discuss.
Okay. Perfect. Regarding the expensive istrace HTTP enable, Vinicius, should I add it to the performance agenda? Do you want to talk about it?
I don't know. The PR is already opened. I don't think we can talk or discuss too much about that.
But like in case the problem isn't solved, and if you want to reach out to more people, we should definitely add it. And I think it's worth mentioning your name, because this is a really great thing that you're doing right now, and getting more awareness about it, and putting your name and the work that you did is also beneficial for you too. So I'm in favor of adding the agenda item.
Okay,
label.
I appreciate that.
Okay, no worries. And Vinicius, if you want to, since it's been a couple of meetings that you've been attending here, I recommend and I officially nominate you to be a part of performance team in Node.js. If you want it, then I'll be more than happy to add you to the performance team and to the repository page, as well as add you to the GitHub performance team.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I want.
Okay, perfect.
Fantastic.
Then I will create an issue and later open a pull request to add you.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Are there any other issues that you want to mention or talk before we close?
No, I think that's it. Oh, one question that I was exploring during the weekend. Do you know if we can use Fast API outside Node.js, like nan from Node.js?
What do you mean by nan?
Let me send you the link. Node.js and native abstractions for Node.js. I was looking to try to improve the performance of Postgres native binding, and I saw that Postgres native binding library uses this library called nan, the abstraction to work with Node.js in C++ side. There is some.
Okay, so this is using an API, right?
Yeah.
So an API doesn't support V8 Fast API. This is mainly a decision that was taken by the NAPI team, and the idea behind not adding support is to not introduce platform-specific functionality to V8, because if we had a V8 specific API to an API, then other runtimes that does not depend on V8 might have issues with supporting it. And I think this was the idea behind it, but I don't have any knowledge on it. But I know for a fact that we don't support Fast API, and that's why most of the functions and like you calling an API is slow compared to implementing it natively in the Node.js core.
Yeah, okay. Do you notice there is a thing that we can do, or it's just a limitation?
It's not like the functionality is not supported in the NAPI. It was primarily a decision that an API team take. If you want to reach out, personally, I disagree, but I also respect the decision taken. 1 second, let me find the GitHub issue or the GitHub organization for you to put at least an issue and ask, maybe.
Yeah, I already opened that, so I was just looking if you know more about this. So if it's not like supported, it's okay. I was just looking if we can improve other libraries than Node.js itself that integrates with Node.js.
Yeah. So as far as I know, that's the issues. And I think you also found a couple of issues. You or Kafra, I'm not really quite sure. You found a couple of issues with the V8 Fast API documentation I've written in the Node core. Did you?
Actually, no. Was my fault to not read the entire documentation. So
That's fine.
once you pointed out, I read back and I was, oh, okay. I know what I can do. My main issues with that first implementation was with C++. I was not a developer of C++, so
Yeah.
I asked a lot of questions to ChatGPT to know more about it.
No worries. So one of I realized what was the issue is. So if anybody wants to contribute to Node.js, this would be a good idea because in the V8 Fast API documentation, I'm sharing the link and the issue to it. We are mentioning static double fast divide, but fast APIs take a receiver parameter as the first argument of that function. And while writing that documentation, I forgot to add that part. So if you copy and paste and write this code, then it would fail. And I think this would be a good mention. And also, I would like to thank Kafra for finding it while implementing can parse. So this was a small issue, but yeah, since Vinicius, you were the last person like reading this, if there is any contributions or anything that's particularly ambiguous for you to understand, I strongly encourage you to open an issue or like open a pull request to fix that, because this is a living document, and if even I've written it, the moment that I opened the PR to add this, like 20, 30 different people commented on it, and it became much more explanatory than my initial assumption. So
Okay, I will take a look on that.
okay. So yeah, if there isn't any other things, then we can conclude the meeting in here. And I would like to thank every one of you, especially Ulysses, to you for keeping track of our meeting notes and opening issues and doing that. I really appreciate it. You are the hero that that we all need, but we don't deserve. So
Thank you.
yeah, no worries. So have a great week.
A super great week.